Gold. So much gold that the streets of Cairo glittered under the desert sun. Merchants gasped, markets collapsed, and for years after, the value of gold itself fell. The man responsible? A king so wealthy that his generosity broke economies. Mansa Musa, the emperor of Mali, the richest man who has ever lived.
But who was he, really? A myth of gold and grandeur? Or a ruler whose empire shaped the fate of West Africa and beyond? Born around 1280, Musa Keita I was not born to be king. He was a deputy, a substitute ruler appointed when the real king went on a voyage that legend says aimed to discover the edge of the Atlantic. That king never returned, and so Musa, humble and unassuming, ascended to the throne of the Mali Empire, an empire that already commanded trade routes pulsing with salt, ivory, and gold.
Yet Musa was no ordinary ruler. His reign would not only define Mali's golden age, it would put Africa at the center of the medieval world.
In 1324, Mansa Musa decided to undertake the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, a journey of faith that became a legend of wealth. He didn't travel alone. Accounts from Arab historians describe an entourage of 60,000 men, 12,000 slaves, and hundreds of camels, each carrying hundreds of pounds of pure gold. Imagine it, a glittering river of humanity stretching across the Sahara.
When he reached Cairo, the world took notice. Musa spent and gifted gold so freely that prices plummeted. The Egyptian economy struggled for over a decade to recover from his generosity. Historians later called it the only time in history one man single-handedly controlled the global price of gold. But Musa's extravagance wasn't about greed or vanity. It was calculated, a display of divine favor and imperial might. He wanted the world to know of Mali, a kingdom that rivaled the wealth and sophistication of any European power. And it worked. Maps of the era began to feature a new figure, an African king crowned in gold, holding a golden scepter and orb. Mansa Musa himself. To the medieval world, he became the face of Africa.
On his return to Mali, Musa invested his wealth not in palaces, but in people. He transformed Timbuktu into a center of learning and culture, building the great Sankore University, one of the first universities in the world. Scholars, poets, architects, and traders flocked to his empire. Books became more valuable than gold itself. Under his reign, Mali was not just rich, it was enlightened.
Yet, like all golden ages, it did not last forever. After Musa's death around 1337, Mali's power began to wane. His successors could not hold together the vast empire he had built. But his legend, that of the king who turned the desert into gold, who made the world look toward Africa in awe, endured.
Centuries later, people still speak of Mansa Musa as a symbol of what was lost and what was possible. An African emperor whose wealth eclipsed even the greatest kings of Europe, but whose true treasure was knowledge, faith, and the dream of a civilization that shone brighter than gold.
In the end, Mansa Musa's story is not just about riches. It's about how power can be used to elevate, not just to dominate. His gold has long since faded, but his legacy, the reminder that Africa was once the heart of the world's wealth and wisdom, still gleams through history's dust.
Enjoying this journey through history? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a 5-minute dive into the past. Got a historical mystery or epic story you want us to cover next? Drop it in the comments. Your idea could be our next episode on History in 5.